What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I have another O-light review for you. This is the PL Pro Valkyrie. And no, I am again not shilling for O-light. This is what we're going to do. As always, features, beam comparison, size comparison. Who's calling me? Go away. We're continuing. Features, beam comparison, size comparison. What I think of it overall, pros, cons, that's the video, and that's what we're going to do. Quick disclosure, I have zero connection to O-light. I got this light with this pistol. When Canik sent out this gun, they included the light in the optic. Used to work for Inforce, which is one of O-light's competitors. That won't affect this review. I just like to be honest and upfront. I will put some affiliate links down in the video description after I go over all the pros and cons. If you think this is the right light for you, hook me up. Use those affiliate links. If not, no big deal. All right, let's get right into the lumens. Now, this light has a high and a low setting, which I'm not a huge fan of. It has 1500 lumens or 600 lumens. Now, what lumens is how much light is coming out of that flashlight. And I say I'm not a huge fan of the 600 lumens because for me, in my opinion, I want as much lumens as possible. If you're, in my opinion, if you're worried about having too much light, then you are not properly trained in how to use a pistol light. Get some training, learn how to use a pistol light or a weapon mounted light, not just pistol light, and I think you'll be less likely to worry about whether this is 1500 lumens or 600 lumens. If you're still caught up on the lumens number and for some reason you want less, this has the option to lower the lumens if you want to. As far as your Candela, it has decent Candela for the price. It has just under 20,000 Candela. If you don't know what Candela is, it's kind of how the light is directed. The higher the Candela, the tighter the beam, the further it throws. And that's the Cliff Notes version of Candela. Now, as far as a runtime, it depends on the setting. You have 90 minutes on low. And you have 1.5 minutes on high before it steps down. All lights step down, completely normal. It starts off at 1500 lumens, and after 1.5 minutes, it will step down to 600 lumens. Now, on that runtime, you do have a rechargeable battery pack inside of the light. You cannot take the battery out, and I kind of get hung up on lights like that. I'm not a big fan of lights where you can't take the battery out. Like if this battery dies, now your light is useless. So I like to be able to take out the battery pack, just my opinion. Most O-lights, if not all, do take this magnetic charger, which I do like. Oh, this isn't the right one for this light. I do like the idea of the magnetic charger. The only thing I get stuck on, I like it on a handheld. I don't know if I love it on a weapon mounted light. Like if this battery needs to be charged, do you take it off of the gun? And then what if you need it? Do you leave it on the gun, leave your gun out unattended? Do you have kids in the house? Is that a big deal for you in your situation? Is that not a big deal? Just a whole bunch of things for you to think of and you to consider. Now, one unique thing about this light is because it can be run on a pistol or a rifle long gun of some sort, you can also run a tape switch on here as well. And O-light uses the magnetic charger also to run the tape switch. And the problem is it comes off kind of easy. So if you're going to run a tape switch and run this on a long gun, somehow I recommend you lock down and hold down the magnetic tape switch on this light. Now you can use bicycle tube, you can use like an inner tube. There's a million different ways of doing it. Hell, a zip tie if you have to, but do something to hold it down so it doesn't come off. Now it does have these two gates, barriers on each side that helps it hold it in place. So it can't come off left to right, but it can still be pulled off directly up if you pull it off. On the charger as well, it does have a indicator to let you know either red, the light is charging, green, that means it is fully charged. Now, as far as the controls, I don't love the controls. They're okay. Quick press, the light's going to stay on. If you hold the button down for more than a half a second, it's momentary. And both controls are the same on either side. So if you're lefty, righty, if you choose to use your thumb, which you should be on your support hand, if you're wrong and you use your trigger finger, however you control the light, the controls are the same on both sides. Now there is strobe. One, I'm not a big fan of strobe, but if you are, I don't judge. You have to press both paddles at the same time to engage strobe. And I don't know how realistic that is, because if you're using your trigger finger for something else, then you can't use your trigger finger for what it's made for. But whatever, you press both buttons and that is a very, very bright strobe. Now, the way you switch it from high to low or to low to high is you turn the light on and then hold turn the light on, and while you're holding the button, press the other one. Wait a couple seconds, the light turns off, and now you're on the 600 lumens. Now this light on 600 lumens only has momentary. There's no constant on. I don't know if all of them are like this, or I'm just doing something wrong, but this is how it is. Again, to go back to the high mode, you press and hold one button. Press and hold one button, then press and hold the other one. Sorry guys, total brain fart. And that will switch you back to high mode. And again, you'll have the constant or the momentary. Another thing that O-light does really, really well is the quick detach levers. I really like the quick detach levers. It's easy to put it on one gun to another, take it on and off. You simply rock it back and forth on the rail, and then when you pull back the quick detach lever, it locks up really, really tight. Now I've tried this on Glocks, Canics, SIGs, CZs. I put it on a whole bunch of different guns, and the quick detach lever worked really, really well. In the middle of the light here, you do have either a 1913 cutout for your rail or a Glock rail. You can just take those two screws out, flip it to whatever gun you are running. Now the one thing I don't like about this light is so the spacing between the cutout on the guns and the front of the trigger guard is different on all guns. And this one, almost on every gun I put it on, it was very, very difficult to reach the paddles. Like if you look close here, what I'm showing you, the paddles are not up against the trigger guard on most guns, and you can't adjust this cutout like you can some of other O-lights and Streamlight and some other lights that are out there. You can't adjust it, so it is what it is. And I found it extremely difficult to reach the paddles on the Canic, on the SIG, and on a few different guns. It was just really, really hard to reach those controls. Before we take a look at the beam pattern, let's take a look at the dimensions and the price. Keep in mind with O-light, they have really big sales really, really often, but that is the normal everyday price. The sponsor of today's video is Prime Armor. If you boys and girls are in the market for a really nice set of body armor and plate carrier, I suggest you take a look at Prime Armor. They are high quality. They're some of the highest quality armor without spending $1 million. So I think it's very good quality, but still relatively affordable compared to some of the other armor out there. They have level 3 or 3 plus plates, and they're also coming out with some level 4 ones soon, which is dope. Discount code, link, all that good stuff is down in the video description if you want to pick anything up from Prime Armor. Now, made in China. I know some people care about this, some people don't. If you're looking for a very affordable light, that's something you'll have to look past. If you're dead set on not getting something made in China, you're gonna have to probably go to Surefire, maybe Cloud. Those are probably the only two lights that are fully not made in China that I know of. Waterproof. 1 meter, 30 minutes, 2-year warranty, black FDE, gray as of right now. They change their colors often, but that's the colors as of right now when I am making this video. All right, let's go take a look at the beam pattern, because the one thing I'm gonna give you a heads up, and I know I'm gonna say it in the test, is the hot spot is pretty defined, but the spill is lacking. There's not much spill at all, even though the hot spot's pretty decent. In the little hallway here, that's what it looks like, heading into my room that I do my recording. And yes, it's a mess. It will always be a mess, deal with it. This is what it looks like in a room, going back and forth. Now I will diffuse the light off of the ceiling. There's something about this light that's just not as bright as the other 1000 lumen lights. This is the PL Pro, 15 yards. Once again, really decent hot spot, but not a lot of spill compared to its competitors. Like I can see over here, the camera's not picking up over here, but I can see it. But the spill's not great compared to its competitors. Now let's move up to 10 yards here. And once again, the camera's not picking up some of the spill like I can see with my eyes, but the spill's not great. Now we're about 5 yards away from that bush. We have the PL Pro, first tree 5 yards, second tree 10 yards, fence 15 yards, just like the previous one. A pretty good hot spot and very little spill. Now that we looked at the beam pattern, let's take a look at the size comparison. What you see here is the O-light. all the way to the right, then the Inforce, then the Streamlight TLR-1 HL, and then the Surefire X300, just to give you an idea of kind of how it stacks up in size to some of its competition. Now, as far as the testing, again, I would love your help, your assistance. If there's something else I should be doing, realistic to test these lights, make sure you let me know. Drop it down in the comments. Of course, I do a drop test. We drop it 5 times from shoulder height, just to make sure it can handle that. Excuse me, which it did with no problem. We did a runtime test, fully charge the battery, leave it here on the table, see how long it lasts. Once again, it passed that with flying colors. As far as a recharge test, once the light was completely dead, plug it in, see how long it takes to charge up from 0 all the way up to 100%. And this particular light took about an hour and a half. I mentioned earlier the waterproof, 1 meter, 30 minutes. I couldn't quite put it into a meter of water, only a few inches, but I still left it for 30 minutes and it passed the waterproof test also with no issue. Now, as far as shooting, I only put 300 lights through this rounds through this light, excuse me, and I know that's not a lot, but this light's been out for a while. It has been reviewed by pretty much every single gun tuber out there, and I don't think anything I say about it is going to change people's opinion on the light. It lasted all of my testing with no problem. Out of those 300 rounds, about 50 of those, maybe a little more than 50, was put under no light, low light conditions at an indoor range. Say it all the time, but every week I go to a shooter's fitness class at the Elite Indoor Gun Range. We do a ton of low light and no light shooting. So I put around 50 rounds through a pistol with this light attached indoors with the lights out. Most of the shooting I did was outdoors. As always, I drew from the holster a whole bunch just to get a little extra wear on the light. I rang a ton of steel because I am obsessed with ringing steel. I think it's fun. And then I also shot these VTAC foam dummies a whole bunch as well. Something I'm reviewing and testing, and I'm trying to get this company to bring them into the United States. Right now they're made in South Africa, and I'm hoping I can get them to import them in the US. That's my goal anyway. Regardless, they are fun to shoot. You know, paper serves a purpose, steel serves a purpose, and so do these rubber dummies. And it's just fun, it's very realistic, it's great for close quarter shooting, and they're just dope. They're absolutely fun. So I put several hundred rounds through each of those foam dummies, and quite a few of those rounds had this light attached to it. Overall, well, let's go pros first. Pro, price is great. Candela is good for the money. It's not the highest Candela light at all. Right now it's the mod light, and the Cloud's going to challenge that very, very soon. But the Candela, for the price compared to the competitors, there's a ton of value when it comes to it. I think these are fairly durable. I've told the story several times now. Hanging out with 4 really big gun tubers at the Iraq veteran shoot. Somebody asked them about O-light, and they all said, I understand why people don't like them. They're made in China, they get it. But out of the dozens and dozens and dozens of lights that they have been sent, only one of them had an issue with one light. So they're like, they just work, they run, they're pretty good, they don't have problems with them. So I do think they're a fairly durable light. As far as cons, again, I'll mention the made in China thing. Some of you guys care, some of you don't. If it's not right for you, again, you have the Cloud, you have the Surefire. I know those two are made in the States, and you can pick which one works the best for you. I'm really hesitant on the battery. One, the magnetic charger makes me a little bit nervous. How do I handle that? Do I take it off the gun? What if I need it? I don't want to leave the gun out because I have little kids in the house. So if that's an issue for you, just keep it in mind. Totally your decision if that's a problem or not for you. But I wish there was a way to remove the battery. I don't mind rechargeable batteries. Rechargeable batteries are great, so you don't have to buy batteries. But I hate it that you can't take the battery out and put a fresh one in. So that's my only beef, my hesitation. I would rather see like two 18350s in here. That's what I would prefer, but I get it. O-light does the magnetic charging, and that's kind of their thing. Overall, if you're looking for strictly on price, the most inexpensive light you're going to find that's decent quality, this probably will fit the bill, especially with O-light's huge sales they run constantly. This light, again, is normally $129 or so, and they run 20, 30, 40, 50% off sales sometimes. So you can definitely get this light for less than $100 on one of their flash sales. Not a bad light for the money. Personally, I think I prefer the TLR-1, the Streamlight TLR-1 HL. It's $5–10 more in normal price, but overall I like the light better. I don't love their controls, but their controls are definitely better, And I'm not a huge fan of the controls on this light either. I forgot to mention that in the cons. I don't love the controls. They're okay, they're not bad. And I don't love how it sits far away from the trigger guard on a lot of the guns I use it on. It's kind of hard to reach the controls. So I guess I had quite a few cons. So in my opinion, I would get the Streamlight. If not, you know, the O-light's not a bad choice either. I always like to give a little caution, a little warning. If you're going to put a light on your gun, whether it be a pistol or a long gun with this one, I highly recommend you get some training from a competent, high-quality instructor. There's techniques you need to learn and how to deploy a light properly so you don't get yourself killed. So do yourself that favor, invest in a little bit of training. Again, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which was Prime Armor. Plate carriers, body armor. I think every civilian should own body armor and plate carriers, and if you have the funds, there's a discount code down below. Check them out, see if you want to pick anything up from Prime Armor. These are the other companies who support me with affiliate links. Again, the discount code or the coupon or whatever is down in the video description. Patreon supporters are great. They supply a lot of the ammo to the channel, so I always like to mention and thank my few Patreon supporters that I have. I am on 2, kind of 3 social media networks. If you want to know what I'm reviewing right now before the video comes out, I'm definitely on Instagram and Facebook, and I dabble on Parler whenever I remember and feel like sharing anything on Parler, which is not very, very often. I do have some Tiberious swag as well. If you want to look extra goofy in a Tiberious hoodie or sweatshirt or whatever, the link is, of course, down in the video description. Now, more important than any of the nonsense I just said, I need to thank you, boys and girls, for watching. And I always mean this. Every time you guys like a video, comment on a video, subscribe, enable the bell notifications, share a video, anytime you do any of those things on one of my videos, it truly helps me out, and I truly, truly appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. Peace!